Hello everybody and welcome to another edition of Inside Guns with your host, me, the Yankee Marshal. You know, we talk a lot about very stressful things on this show, kind of stress-inducing things, attacks on the Second Amendment. We talk about a lot of serious subjects. We talk about a lot of kind of unpleasant subjects when we're dealing with the aftermath of misuse of guns, etc. So it can be sometimes a downer. So today I want to take a little time, since I'm getting enough stressful stuff and downer stuff from the fact that I got family visiting for the next 2 weeks. I want to take a little time today to just do something fun. So what's more fun than a top 5 list? And since I've always got people getting on me about, you always do top 5s about revolvers and guns with hammer fires, and we want to see about strikers. You know how striker fired people are. That's how they all sound. So today I thought I would acquiesce a little bit to these striker-fired lovers, and I would do a list of the top 5 striker-fired handguns. And of course I want to start today, as I would assume you probably always would, if you're doing a top 5 list, although I see some people do it the other way sometimes, and it just seems weird because I don't know which one's best. If you start with 1, does that mean that's the 5th best one and 5 is the best one? Or because you don't start with the best one and work your way down. That doesn't make sense. So today we are going to start at the 5th best one and start at number 5. All right, at number 5, we have a gun that is probably not a gun most people think about quite often. And it is a car. In fact, it's the car K-Series gun and the car MK series gun. The K series is the compact version of the gun, and the MK is the micro compact version of the gun. And this is Car's all stainless steel version of their little single stack carry guns. Now they are getting a little outdated these days because of all the guns that are coming up that are stagger stacked or double stacked, but still very small. So they're not exactly, up to date with some of the small 9mm. But they're also available in 40. And if it's available in 40, why would you get it in 9mm anyway? And plus, they have probably the best trigger I have ever felt on a striker-fired gun ever. It's just amazing, the triggers on these guns. Now, they are not for people who like a quick, short reset, that tactical feel. They are just a smooth, consistent long pull every time. They're kind of like a revolver trigger, but lighter and smoother than most revolver triggers. So these are actually awesome guns. Like I said, very slim, very nice looking, very solid. They are available with some really nice wood grips if you want them with wood grips. So they're just a great striker-fired gun. In fact, they're probably one of my favorite striker-fired guns. And one of the first striker-fired guns I ever owned was an MK40. So I really like the cars. Like I say, I think they are very much overrated, especially the all stainless steel models like the K series and the MK series. And there are T series and other series also if you want a bigger gun. But the ones I like the best are the compact and the micro compact. And yes, I know they're spelling it with a K there. It's a car. I don't know what to expect from these people. So those are what I would consider number 5 on this list of top 5 striker-fired guns: the K series and the MK series from Car. All right, at number 4, we have a really nice gun, and it's a newer model. It's something that hasn't been around for a long time. It is the Sig Sauer P320 AXG Classic. This is the one with the aluminum frame, so it's an all-metal P320. When they made the P320, they made one of the best striker-fired guns around as far as I was concerned. And then when they came out with the AXG model, the aluminum-framed model of this gun, well, they hit it out of the park. This is an awesome gun. I own this gun. It is amazing. It does have a few shortfalls on it, but even its shortfalls are minor. But it is an awesome gun, and I'll actually talk about its shortfalls here in a little bit. But this gun really deserves to be on this list because it is such a good gun. The ergonomics on it are amazing. The build quality is really high. It has a great trigger. It's just an awesome carry gun all the way around in every way, and it has that added durability of being a metal framed striker fired gun, which is something you don't see every day. A lot of them are polymer framed. So the SIG P320 AXG Classic, this is a really awesome gun. Comes cut for an optic. If you want to put an optic on there, it's ready to go for that. And it's already got a lot of other parts that are available since it is an established gun already. So it's, even though it's new, it's not completely new. You can still get holsters and everything else for it. And it also does have that removable firing control unit. So it is a completely modular gun. So that right there is why all those things add up to why this is the number 4 gun on my list of the top striker-fired handguns. All right, at number 3, we also have a spot here that's shared by 2 models from the same company. Now this time the company is Walther. And the 2 models that share this spot are the larger Q5 steel frame match, or match steel frame, and the smaller, more compact Q4 steel frame. As you can probably tell from the name there, these are both steel framed guns. Steel framed striker fired, much like the car guns at the beginning of this list. So these are awesome. They're great for competition. They're great for the range. They're nice and heavy. I wouldn't say they're great carry guns, not the Q5 at least. It's a little heavy. The Q4, yeah, it's carryable. But these are just awesome. They're very well made. It's like Walther PPQs and the Walther Match PPQ, but with an all steel build. Just makes them a very sturdy, well-made, quality gun, and I just love them. And really, basically, the biggest difference between them is, the length of the barrel. And the Q5 has a lot more cuts on the slide because, it has to be lightning. I think they're speed holes, actually, so you can shoot faster. But really nice guns. They're both cut for an optic. They both have great triggers. They have that Walther trigger. If you ever shot a PPQ, you know how good the Walther triggers are. So these are just 2 awesome guns. And that's why they're sharing the spot here, because they are so similar. That's why I didn't split them up into 2, because really the difference is the barrel length. That's the major difference between the 2. They function very much the same. They feel very much the same. The triggers are very much the same. They're cut for optics. Just a little bit difference in that barrel length. So I'm just lumping them together here so that we can have more spots on the list. And because, like I said, they are pretty similar. Whichever one of these you get, you're really going to love it. If you want it for competition or range, you might like the Q5 better. If you think you might actually want to carry it, the Q4. But these 2 definitely deserve the spot at number 3 on my list of top striker-fired guns. All right, at number 2 on this list is pretty much the only gun I still don't own of all the guns on this list. I have owned one, but I don't own one now because I traded it in, sold it when I wanted to buy a Korth. But it is the Zevtek OZ9 or OZ9. This is basically one of the top of the line Gucci Glocks, as people like to call them. But it's not just a fancied up Glock, just not a lot of cuts on the slide and nothing else. It actually has a completely different build style because it uses a steel receiver. The only polymer on the gun is actually the grip and the trigger guard. The actual receiver that interacts with the slide is steel. And that's what really drew me to this gun. It has a little bit of polymer on it to lighten the weight, but it has that steel receiver so that it doesn't have that frame flex that a lot of polymer guns have. So this was just an answer to a question that I have asked a long time. How do you get rid of that flex from the polymer frame? This was an awesome idea. I love this gun. I loved it when I had it. If I carried a striker fired gun, I'd probably still have this gun, but I don't. So I sold it off and got myself a Korth. But with a lot of other guns, sold it off and got a Korth. It's not a super cheap gun, but it ain't as expensive as a Korth, so don't worry about that. It's in the Gucci Glock price range. It's got a really nice option for the barrels. You can get the brassy bronze colored barrels. You can get them black, whatever. The cut for an optic. They're just overall great. And I love the way they cut the slides. The slides are cut very nicely. I really like them. The triggers in them are amazing. So for a striker fired gun based on a Glock, I'm not going to say amazing overall because, if you put it next to like a really amazing trigger, like a 1911 trigger, you're going to notice a big difference. But as far as Gucci Glocks go, great trigger. That's like saying, nicest guy in prison when you say best polymer trigger, polymer gun trigger. But like I say, this gun does not have a polymer receiver, so not quite saying that. So that right there, it's just an awesome gun. That's what I'm trying to say without getting real distracted here. It's a great gun. If you've never tried one out, give one a try. Hopefully you have someone who knows, someone that has one and you can try theirs or something, because they really are nice guns and they definitely deserve to be, and they wouldn't be number 2 on this list if I didn't think they were great guns, but they are, so it is number 2 on my list of best striker-fired handguns. All right, we have reached number 1 here. And number 1 is a gun that I don't think is going to surprise anybody, because it is an amazing striker-fired gun. And it is the Sig Sauer P320 AXG Scorpion. Now you might be saying, well, you lumped other guns together. Why didn't you lump this together with the Classic? And why is it number 1 when the Classic is clear down at number 4? Well, there's a good reason for that. Even though these are basically the same gun with a different paint job, that's not the only difference. I mean, the barrels are even the same length on these, so they're very similar, but there are some important differences between these two guns that I didn't know about till I bought both. You see, the Classic, as I was talking about those shortcomings it has earlier, for some reason it has a much cheaper, grittier guide rod and spring system. It just, it's hard to explain. It's just gritty feeling when you rack the slide. And the trigger itself is the curved, thinner trigger. It just doesn't feel as good as the flat trigger of the Scorpion. And that's why the Scorpion is so much better. It has the aluminum frame. It has the modularity. It has the cuts for the red dot sight. It has everything the Classic has, but then it's better. And the fact that it being a little better than the Classic, putting it at number 1, that tells you how close 2, 3, and 4 actually are for this difference in the gun to make it number 1. Because all those guns are very good and they're very close to each other. But on the SIG AXG Scorpion, everything just came together to be one of the smoothest, cleanest firing, most well-balanced, just everything great about it. Striker-fired gun I've ever shot. It's got an aluminum frame. Like I said, everything is perfect about it. Now, you can bring your Classic up to the same level as the AXG simply by ordering the recoil, spring, and guide rod assembly, that 2-piece assembly. If you just order the one from their website, that's the nicer one. I don't know why they put the cheaper one in the Classics, but that's the same one you get in the Scorpion on their website. Do not get the California only one. Get the 9mm and 40 one. Put it in this gun. We'll make it smoother, and you can also put a flat trigger in it. The flat trigger just makes a big difference. It lets you decide where you put your finger on the trigger instead of pushing your finger to the center. And it gives you more leverage on the trigger, so that great trigger feels even better. But unless you make those modifications, the Classic just isn't as good as the Scorpion. So if you're comparing right out of the box, the Scorpion is just far better, and that's why it's number 1 on this list of top 5 striker-fired guns. Okay, before I go on here, I do want to address one thing. I want to tell everyone out there that, yeah, there was something about this list you might have noticed, and that was there's not a whole lot of polymer on it, and that's because I don't really care for polymer guns. Everyone knows that. I'll do you a striker-fired list, but you're going to know right off the bat, mine aren't going to be polymer, my favorites. And since it's my list, I can't be wrong. These are my favorite top 5 striker-fired guns, and they happen to use metal receivers, at least receivers, if not full metal frames. Because polymer's bad for Mother Earth. Haven't y'all ever watched Captain Planet? All you polymer gun people are killing our environment. I blame global warming on you people that carry polymer framed guns. I think it is man-made, and it's made because of you and your plastic guns. And that's a little bit of hyperbole, but my video, I can do whatever I want. But like I say, not a lot of polymer in there, but I wasn't really looking at this from a carry aspect either. These were just the best ones. What makes a better carry gun and what makes a better gun overall might be different. So come back tomorrow and we'll do a list of what I think are the best striker-fired guns for carry. But for now, those are the 5 that I think are the best overall. All right, everybody, that took a little bit of time there. And plus, I got family in town, so I don't got a lot of time to be filming or editing right now. So I'm going to go ahead and sign off today, as usual, by saying, as far as the state of the world today is concerned, you know, it is what it is. It could be a lot worse. Trust me. It's not as bad as people say, that's for sure. But it could still be better. And if we continue to fight smart and hard for our rights in this country and hold steady to the ideals of our country and ignore the fearmongers, the profiteers, the fake advocates that just want to line their pockets off the battle. They don't really want to serve the cause at all. If we ignore those people, what things will be for people who love the Second Amendment and freedom in general in the very near future is better.